everyone, Barnaby here, electric car converts. Today with a series with a Tesla motor in it, which is insane, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But before we go into this, I want to quickly show you another one that is in build. Come here. Stay here. Chili, stay here. So this car is very, very similar to that one outside, in that it's got a Felton 55 kWh battery pack in the front there, and it's got a Tesla motor in there somewhere, alongside its brand new chassis, new axles, new wheels, new brakes, new suspension, etc. So although this one's a little bit rougher than that one on the exterior, the inside's exactly the same. Anyway, we'll show you this one in a later video, but pretty cool to see how it is in the middle of its build with us. So, obviously we also do fenders, as you know. But I thought we would go for a little drive in it. I can talk you through the driving experience, then we'll do a little bit of a loop around the car, show you underneath, show us a couple new features that are on this car that maybe aren't on previous ones that you've watched videos about, including our iPhone app, which is quite cool, and Android app that you can change power settings, all that kind of thing. So we'll go through all that in a minute. But for now, jump in. And I'm going to quickly show you how it drives. Original key, which is actually really annoying, but it doesn't give you any kind of like physical click. But anyway, that's on. You can see the gauges come to life. We've got a handbrake switch in the middle here. We've got amps, which is almost like, kind of like revs. It's almost a gimmick. It's kind of like fun to see where the power's going out of the battery and where it's going back in when you're regenning. Battery level here, somewhere between 75 and 100% there. Speedometer, miles obviously. That's one of the charging buttons, so that releases the charger from its home. You got heater, and then our little panel here, which is an eco mode there. So when it's green, we're in eco-friendly mode, i.e. not super fast, because it's actually scary. You can see I actually already had it in there. And then our selection lever, so into reverse, handbrake off, and off we go. The worst thing about this car, which I've told the owner, and he agrees with me, is it's so old that it doesn't even have to have seat belts. Which actually, when you're testing a 300 horsepower Land Rover, is pretty damn scary. But regardless, it's going to get its seatbelts done fairly soon. I think actually as soon as it gets back to the client. But you kind of need them when it can do this. And that's an eco mode. So we're going to potter around. We're running on, obviously, Tesla motor under here. You can see where the big, the tunnel is here. And, you know, on our Defenders, we can flatten the floor off because there's a bit more space. But on these, it sits more in the tunnel there. I can show you that later. But ultimately, it's still a Land Rover. You can see it's still bouncing around. The steering doesn't basically do anything until you're really moving. I'm going to get right down here. The brakes, this is all regen braking. I haven't touched the brake pedal yet. But the brakes are completely new on this car, as is suspension, blah, 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 underneath. Because, if I show you, when you release the horses, you need to be able to stop. So we're going to get up there somewhere, open the bonnet, show you what's underneath, and I'll give you a spin around. Right, so we'll start with the car. Now, it's a posh one, as you can obviously tell. Like, the paintwork's really nice, obviously brand new. The seats, we haven't even taken the plastic off because our dirty workshop bums will ruin them. The wheels are brand new, the tyres are brand new, the inside of the axles is even brand new. Now that's a video, I think it's actually on our Instagram, but I should do a YouTube on it soon, where we talk about what the axle kit is for the series, in changing the half shafts, the differential, the brakes are all now disc brakes because of safety reasons, and the electric handbrake under there. But this car in general, as a restoration, obviously super nice. It's got a galvanized chassis. The only thing I can fault is that he's painted the galvanized chassis. I don't like painted galvanized galvanized chassis, especially when they've been painted like this and didn't actually paint the inside of the PTO. I've fed back to the client, but what can I do? So, beautiful car. What did we do? Took the shit engine out for starters. That has been replaced by this. So, Felton 55 kilowatt hour. We've spoken about them a million times before. They are basically as good as you can get in terms of their quality of build, their support. They're basically OEM level, and that's because Felton build so many of them in Bristol that we can kind of rely on them for knowing exactly how to do it the very best ways. We used to build our own battery packs, and yes, of course, I save a little bit of money by doing it in-house, but what we gain by the OEM standards of Felton is hugely important to our business, and that's why we now exclusively are only building with the Felton UBPs. In a series, you can only have 55 kilowatt hours. We can't fit the seat box that you'll have seen in Defenders and other videos that take it up to 110 kilowatt hours. But to be honest, in a car like this, without even having seat belts, you don't need to go more than 150 miles that this thing will go. If you did want to go further than that, the Felton UBP rapid chargers at all major rapid charging stations in England, and actually in the world, so either Type 2 or Type 1. So you could just charge it up in 25 minutes while you eat your McDonald's or whatever that is, if you were gonna, I don't know, drive it down to your holiday home in Cornwall, etc. So under here we've got, we've put servo brakes in. This is a 2.8, so it didn't actually have a brake servo. That's boosted by an electric boost pump, which is actually under the seat in there because we ran out of space in here. So that's that side of things. We got the Felton box, our controllers under there, so that's things like the motor controller, the relay packs, the fuse board, all that kind of la-di-da. This side we've got cooling, so 2 header tanks, 1 for motor, 1 for battery pack, which are these 2 here that you can see. You can see very small rads, rather than obviously the big one that used to sit here when it had to cool down a big 100-degree engine. This is only keeping things at like, I don't know, 25 degrees or something like that. The motor maybe goes up 50, 60. It's nowhere near the 100 degrees that we're talking about in terms of how it used to run. So that's all very easy to do. It's got fans on the back which automatically turn on if it's getting hot. For example, when it's rapid charging, the battery gets a little bit hot. So it starts turning the fans on, pumping the coolant around, etc., etc. It's obviously very tidy here, but it's, believe it or not, it's exactly the same as the other series in the last video you saw, but in the last one, it's like rusty bonnet, and you know, all of this is kind of covered in rust, blah, blah, blah. It's about the car. Our kit is the same. The car can be very, very different. Yes, underneath they're the same, but the quality of the panels, etc., can be very different. Here we've got high voltage down to the motor, I believe, on this side, down to the charge socket on this side. This is our new fancy heating system. So, heating. It's always been a bit of a pain in the ass, and the reason being, there's the big bits in an EV conversion, which are battery pack, motor, charging, let's say. The little things, like in a Defender power steering, or brake servos, or heating in this case, can be quite complicated. So we've recently changed from PTC heaters, which are basically like a hairdryer element, i.e. give it high voltage and it gets super duper hot. You blow air over it and you have your heating. We've now changed to run all of our cars on liquid heating. So we have a liquid heater, which is, sorry, the reason I do that is because OEMs are doing it that way now, it seems. They're sort of moving towards heating, so we're kind of following the industry on that. So we got water in there, or coolant in there, that runs through a heater, and then, interestingly, through the original box there. So that's a Smith's heater, you know, original Land Rover one, that then is using the original element in it, running hot water through it by, rather than hot water from the engine, hot water from the heater, which is under there, which I'm not going to show you because it's in that box. But quite a cool way of heating the car, and also means that over time we can decide whether we want to use that coolant heating to actually maybe precondition a battery pack or heat up a battery pack. If a car was going to Norway, for example, you could heat up the car before you even got out of bed. maybe, if we can get the software guys to sort that out. But there we go. So a bit of a change there. It's also going into all of our Defenders, because it basically means we don't have to touch this bit, which in a Defender you can imagine is behind the dashboard, or in a Range Rover Classic it's way behind the dashboard. You really don't want to touch it. So now that we're in here, Carl, you stay here, I'll go around. You can see that it's really original. Obviously there's no gear sticks here, so maybe a little bit easier to have a little kid in the middle here, or a dog or something, but we do still have the tunnel, as I spoke about earlier. But we try and keep everything else quite kind of nicely with the period, so it fits in. We don't do iPad screens, we don't do that kind of stuff, because you don't need to see every single detail on an iPad when you're trundling along down country lanes in this thing. So that's that. And then Carl, just around here, find this thing in nettles. Charging. That's type 2 because we're in England, so that would also go to any European customers. And then we also do a type 1 for American cars. We have actually got a series kit going to America in the next couple of months, so they'll get a slightly different socket there. And then you've got DC rapid charging there, which is the super fast charging we were talking about earlier. Obviously, this is where they used to fill fuel in, so we just repurpose that and fit the charge socket in there. So again, without really looking, you wouldn't really know that this was an electric Land Rover, apart from obviously it's quiet and there's no exhaust coming out the back like a big plume of white or sometimes black smoke. So that's a run round of the car for you. The last thing I want to show you is the power. Now, power in a car like this is actually damn scary, and I explain this a lot in that a Tesla motor is a fantastic motor for our use case. We put it in every single one of our cars. They're so reliable, we've not had a single one break, and that's, you know, we're on 45, 50 cars and kits now, so that's pretty good. What they do have is too much power. So power being a byproduct of the brilliant motor that we've got. So in a car like this, honestly, as much as you think you're the big, strong, oh, I don't mind a bit of power, I'm fearless, it's so scary because the wheels slip, the steering wheel is like I showed you earlier, and there's so much wind noise and no seat belts. You don't want that power because honestly, it just doesn't feel safe. So we now have, in fact, all of our cars have it, but it's the first time I'm talking about it properly, is an app where you can just turn down the power. So, you know, for example, I think we're driving this around on 70% power at the minute, because it's still exciting, don't get me wrong, it's still like super fun to drive, but it's not trying to kill you at the roundabout kind of thing. So we're gonna go out and I'll show you how we kind of change those settings in power and in regen, so that the customer can play with that, and once they're happy with it, they basically just leave it as it is. But we'll jump back in now and show you around that a little bit. So this is the app that I've been talking about. We basically have a couple of settings that we can play with here. So at the minute, we're running the car at 149 kilowatts in terms of power. Now, we've set it there because it's exciting, but it's not like wheel spinning. If the roads were to get a bit wet, maybe the client would want to turn it down, so you can just press it down here. There you go, now you're at 140. So I think the cool thing with this is, if you want to go to, I don't know, the pub on your way to the pub and show your friends this awesome car that you've bought, you can whack this way up to wherever you want, go and do a couple of launches. Super exciting. The car can absolutely do it. You know, the axles are upgraded enough, the brakes are good enough, the suspension's fine. It will do it. It's just not really that fun in a series like this. Maybe I'm just a scaredy cat. Could well be. So I'm going to put it back to 149 because that's where Kyle wants it. And then regen is your other one. So regenning to someone who's not used to an electric car is a very strange experience. Because as soon as you come off the throttle, the car's like really trying to stop. Whereas if you come off the throttle in, I don't know, your normal diesel car, the car doesn't really try and stop that much. Yes, there's a bit of engine braking, but it's not anything like it is in an EV. So if you haven't driven a normal EV, you'll get even more surprised when you drive a Land Rover EV. So 100% is really what you should be driving on, because that means you're using all of the regen for all of your braking. You basically never touch the brake pedal. If you were to go a lot lower, you're kind of not, A, putting power back into your battery pack, which is obviously a good thing, but B, you're going to start wearing out brake pads and things like that. So we set it at about 70% on this car because it just feels smooth. It's very much still there, but it's not it's not scary. Like when you suddenly think, whoa, why have I slowed down just because I've taken my foot off the accelerator? Obviously, you get very used to it very, very quickly. It sounds like something that maybe take a week to get used to. No, you're used to it in about an hour. You feel where the pedal needs to be, and when regen kicks in, how much you're going to get. The other things we got here is this eco button here, which I spoke about earlier. When it's green, it puts this in chill. So chill there and sport there. Technically sport. There's no in between, so it's either chill or sport. I'm pretty sure that's actually Tesla. We don't make the motor controller, but I'm pretty sure Tesla calls it that. I don't know. I don't have one. So you can see, you can also just click chill there. Oh no, you can't because the button turns it off. Anyway, so you put it in chill there, you see it come up there. Then you can watch everything else, all the parameters on this screen, like voltage, amperage, speed, read what you're actually pulling, and, well, power going in and out, which is very similar to your amps going in and out. So that's our app. Super important in this car, less important in the other cars, which are a bit heavier, and you can sort of get away with running them at full speed. This one, I really don't like. But the client might love it, and it's not for me to say how much power you can put on. So that's really, I think, all I've got to talk about. I'm going to switch her off. Switch the handbrake off. Put her into gear. Should we go eco mode? Yeah, we'll go eco mode. And off we go again. Thanks for watching.